Okay, so again, like I said, I went to Window, Swatch Libraries, Color Books, Solid Coded, and I did a screen capture. I'll put that in the project. So I opened it up, and then I went to the little pancake menu, and I said large list view. You can have a small list view, you know, whatever works. And as you can see, the colors are grouped in by neighborhoods, and most of them are numbers. So I'm going to come over here, and I've typed in the name of my product. Yours would be marshmallows. I'm just doing sweetie pie, so I don't take anybody's ideas. And I'm going to pick a font. I'm going to pick like a nice candy-like font or whatever. Ooh, that's kind of nice. Maybe I'll use that. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, and you'll see that I make copy and paste. I usually make multiple copies of things. So I'm going to go object, because now that I know that my type is right and I know that my spacing is right. If my spacing was wrong, I'd have to fix it. Like, let's just say, for example, what if it was like that? That doesn't look good. So I know that my spacing is right. Luckily, this type came in automatically spaced fine. So the next step is I'm going to go type, create outlines. And remember, once I do this, it's not type anymore, it becomes shapes. And you can even see how the type is overlapping in the different areas. So I'm going to go object ungroup, okay? Because I'm actually going to have them be two separate things. So the first thing I'm going to do is, if you see, I mean, like these are separate. I'm going to use my window pathfinder, and I'm going to punch this type together. So the W and E and the E and all this stuff, not the S, but all these, I'm going to go ahead and hit unite. And now they are not separate. I can't grab the W by itself, which is good. That's what I want. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to punch them together with unite. All right. Now I do that because, number one, the S shouldn't be touching, but I could make the S larger if I wanted to, or whatever. And in fact, I probably will make it slightly larger, because they seem to do that a lot with candy stuff. And I'll make maybe the P slightly larger too. And if I'm going to make those slightly larger, I need to make sure that they are similarly sized. I don't want the P, which I have done, to be much larger than the S. So I'm going to keep them in the same proportion. That's pretty close, right? Or is it still bigger? Nope, still bigger. So I got to go a little smaller. All right, and then we're over here. So now I'm going to take these two things, the P and the IES, and I'm going to go object group. I can move that over here. And I'm going to take this, and I'm going to go object group. Now, remember that I can do something like this. I can put them together. I can keep them like the sweet tarts. I can have them side by side, or I could nest it under, here or something like that. I think with this, I'm probably, well, let's try it a couple of different ways. So I'm going to grab this, I'm going to copy and paste, and I'm going to do one like straight on. And you'll notice if I go to window, or I'm sorry, view, snap to point, I'm going to turn that off. I don't want any snaps because it's kind of making it hard to like move stuff into position. But that probably looks about right. I can also align them. Yeah, that's perfect. So I'm going to group this together, and then I'm going to group this together. So let's take a look at effects. So I'm going to do this one first. I can go to Effect, Warp. And I know I've shown you this before, but this is a perfect place for you to use this. So it doesn't matter what I choose, like if I choose this, which I don't want to do, but let's say I wanted to give it kind of a wavy kind of thing. And I can adjust the amount that it's waving. I could do something like this. Or let's see, what if we go crazy? Yeah, let's go ahead and go with the flag. I kind of like the flag effect. And I don't want that much, so I'm going to stick with about like that. So that works when it's in a straight line, and you'll notice that Illustrator still sees it as the original type upon which an effect has been made. So the difference is going to be if I copy and paste this and I now say object expand appearance, now it is that shape. Like here, we could still go back, we could adjust it, but here I've cemented it by going Object Expand. So it's in the right place. So let's take a look at what this will do if we go Effect, Warp, and let's pick Flag. So the problem when you've got two lines, which some of you may want to do, you know, it's going to, because now that there's two lines deep, the bend is going to be more dramatic. So to get the same sort of effect, I may have to like ratchet back a little bit on the effect so that now instead of being 50%, now I'm only going to do like 20% or something like that. So I'll copy and paste it again just to show you because it is kind of confusing. It's hard to see. So I'm going to go Object, Expand Appearance, and there we go. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to move this out of the way, and we're going to focus on these two things. So what I may want to do is I may want to come over here, and if I wanted to do the Sweet Tarts thing, you know, I can copy and paste it. And if I open up my window stroke, I may choose to increase the weight of the stroke on the outside. So now you'll see, and the reason why I'm doing this is so you guys remember, watch what's happening in this area right here. As I go bigger and bigger, we've got this really sharp point, which makes no sense. It doesn't, I do know where it's coming from, but it's doing that. Now, I showed you before that you can show your options and you can round it off, right? And that's the easiest way to get rid of that. But actually, what I kind of want to do is I don't want to round it. I do want that hard edge. I like the way it looks here and there, but I got to get rid of that. So what I'm going to do is I have to, if this is, and let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to change the color of this. Well, we'll make it orange. And I'm going to change the color of the stroke here, and we'll make it red. That's a bad color combination. Let's go for the Burger King colors. So I'm going to get rid of that. And as I look in, if I move this to the front, Object, Arrange, Bring to Front, you know, I can kind of see the beginnings of what I'm trying to do. That's kind of working, but I need to get rid of that spike right there. And the only way to get rid of that spike effectively is to take your type and go Object, Expand, and it's expanded. But now what I want to do is just like I did before, I want to go to my Pathfinder and I want to punch it all together. So now it is one shape, and I can now come here with my direct selection tool. I can do one of two things. I could bring this anchor point here, but that's kind of a natural looking, right? I can come here and I can change my anchor point. I can take my anchor point tool and change it from a pointy sort of thing and make it rounded, right? And if I do that, then I can bring it down and kind of play with it until it looks right. And I really don't know what looks right until I move this on top of it and see where we are. Whoops, I want to do that. So really, boy, that's really obvious right there. So what if I come here and try to adjust these points? Or the easiest thing to do would be to come here and just grab my, let's see, grab my pen tool. And actually, I got to come out a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this. I'm going to delete this anchor point. And then now I can come here and bring this guy over here and just have one nice little lump, right? Oops. And that looks pretty good. Now to get another layer, so now that's two, that's pretty good. And the thing that I like to do too is you can offset it a little bit. You know, you can, it doesn't have to be dead center. I mean, you can make it more towards the top or, you know, something like that. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy and paste it. And here I am going to have, I don't know, purple. And then I can lay this on top of it and kind of have like multiple layers. And then what I really should do is I should take this layer and give it an outline, and then object, arrange, send to back. These colors are terrible. Thanks for playing though. And, you know, we can kind of play with it. Now, this is where it gets kind of difficult. Let's just say, for example, I wanted to have that white highlight, right? So if I grabbed this and went copy and paste, okay, and then I put another thing right on top of it, but I left a little bit out, okay? My goal, and I'm gonna move this so I can see, I'm gonna change colors because I can always change colors later. So my goal is I wanna chop away everything, and I'll just temporarily, I'm gonna make this white so you can kind of see it. White, none. So I kind of want that. You see window, view, snap to grid. There we go, that's off. So I kind of want it to look, I want these chunks right there, okay? And one way to do that, because remember, this is just white now. So if I move it, I want those little lines, those little red pinkish lines. So if I select both of these, and this is the problem, this is why I'm going through all this to show you. If I select all of it at once and I do the whole like minus the front, I'm only going to get the first letter, okay? Because you've got multiple objects grouped together. So, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make the front a color again so that you can see it a little more clearly. Come on. There we go. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to select all of this and I'm going to go object ungroup. And I'm going to have to do it kind of one chunk at a time. Object ungroup. So now I've got the S by itself. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see it. Everything that's yellow is going to be deleted. So we're only going to be left with that line. So I'm going to come here to my Pathfinder and I'm not going to join them together because that'll give me that. I want to minus the front. And so that works. And if I come here, because I punched all this together, whoops, nope, that's going to give me a problem here, I think, but let's see. Yeah, see the dot on the I caused a problem. So I need to object ungroup. Actually, I'm going to grab it all. Object ungroup that. And now I can say minus the front. And I can grab this individually and say minus the front. And I can come over here, object ungroup, minus the front. Same thing here, I'm gonna have to go object ungroup, minus the front, minus the front. Now, what I can do is come here and I can take this, group it together, object group, and I can make the color back to white again, or anything really, maybe a lighter yellow or something. So, and I can move it into place. But this is kind of where the fun begins. Because if it was that easy, everybody would do it. You could just do it like that. I'm going to have to be a little bit of an artist. And now I'm going to have to take this stuff. I'm going to go object ungroup. And I'm going to go object ungroup. And I may have to take and individually move some of these around so that they're in the right places. I may even have to scale some of them. Stretch them a little bit. Maybe you have to rotate it a little bit. Like this one, I can see that I'm probably going to need to scale it down. And I'm probably going to need to, oh, that eraser is pretty big. Let's see, size. 1 point. Probably need to cut a little bit off. And I'm not going to sit here and do all these letters for you. Look at that piece right there, got lost. And this one might need to be scaled down a little bit and rotated a little bit. But you can see how that would give me a pretty good effect. And if I need to, I would probably, if I were to do this, I would have done it on a separate layer, so I don't have to worry about accidentally clicking on these pieces again. But that is pretty much all you have to do. And now, of course, I could take it, I could make it white if I wanted to. I could just click on it, yeah. So I'm gonna hit Shift, 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 white. And so there we go. And that helps us get, you know, something. I think this is probably, maybe looking at it now, I probably will center it. And actually, I probably wouldn't have made that red swell so big because it looks way too far away. But I can't really scale it because it's going to change the proportions of everything. But, you know,